We want to thank everybody for joining us today for another episode of Ask the Techsperts. We're happy to have all of you here. My name is Amanda. I have been part of Tech Lab for the last 7 years. I started in March of 2013. I'm the Director of Operations there, and I'm in charge of business development, sales, marketing, and networking. We're going to have Michelle and Jennifer present today. Michelle is going to go first. She has been an employee of Tech Lab since March of 2019, so celebrated just over a year. And she is our project coordinator and also assists me with sales and marketing as well. So Michelle's going to talk today about shopping online safely. And we are going to have any questions you have, you can take in the chat. We also have some dedicated time after each session to ask your questions directly as well. So keep your questions, whether they're in your chat or whether they're at the end, and we look forward to answering them. Michelle, you can take it away.
Okay. I'm just gonna show you guys what I got here. So today I'm going to talk to you guys about shopping online safely. So before we start shopping, there's a couple of things we want to do. To you guys who have been on the show have been attending the show for a couple of weeks now, a lot of this is going to sound familiar. But the first thing you're going to want to do is protect the device that you're working on. Make sure that your security is up to date on your computer, that you've got your antivirus running, your anti-malware running, and that kind of a thing. Then you're going to want to protect your internet connection. So make sure that make sure that you're not using public Wi-Fi to do your internet shopping. You can be either using your mobile data or you can be using your home internet. But that will keep it so that people can't be looking over your shoulder while you're doing it. The next question that I want to talk to you guys about is how do we find what we're shopping for online? Email, clicking on a link in an email is one way that people find what they're looking for online. Ads that people see as they're like surfing the internet or on Facebook is another way that people will find what they're looking for online. Performing a search for what they're looking for is another way that people find online. Somebody might recommend something to you, or you maybe just will search on the website of the store. So for those of you who are a little bit less tech savvy, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I mean. Okay. So when I say going to the URL of the so when I say looking for on a search, here's where you would start typing, I'm looking for batteries, for example. Okay. When I say that I'm going to the URL of the store, I might type in Amazon.com up here. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's see here. I think. So of these 4 things, the one that I most recommend, the one that you have to be a little bit careful about clicking in links in emails, as we've talked about before. So if you find a product in an email that you're like, I really want to buy that, I think the best way to get to it would be to just look for that product on that store's website instead of clicking on the link in the email. And same with ads. If you see something on an ad and you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to buy that, I recommend going to the store's website and then searching for whatever it is that you saw in the ad. That's going to be much safer. If there's a coupon in the email or ad, or if there's a good price on the email or ad and you're like, okay, I need that price, oftentimes there will be a coupon code that you can just type in somewhere on the site and that'll get you that price that you're looking for. Okay. So now I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how do we know that the site we're buying from is okay to buy from. So the first question you want to ask is it a legitimate company? So I was showing you guys Amazon earlier. Have you guys heard of Amazon before? Okay,
Who
good.
hasn't?
All right, so that means that it's a legitimate company, okay? For smaller sites, they can still be legitimate companies and they might not be something that you've ever heard of before. In those cases, I'll talk to you a little bit about how to verify it. But if you've heard of it before, if you and you know other people who bought from it and have had good experiences from it, it's probably legitimate. The next thing you want to know is okay, I've got this and I think this is a legitimate company. Is this their site? This is where you really need to be careful of when you're clicking on email or links in emails and links on ads, is making sure that you're getting taken to where you're supposed to be taken to. So let me show you what I mean here. Okay, so I typed in Amazon.com. If I had clicked on a link in an email and it was a bad link in the email, it might take me to like Amazon.com, which looks really similar, right? And it didn't work right because Amazon is very protective of it, but say it had taken me to Amazon.com, like you wouldn't really, unless you're paying attention to that, you wouldn't know that that's where you're being taken to. So if you do click on a link in a website, or if you do click on a link on a URL, or if you do click on a link in an email or on an ad, make sure that it's taking you where they're supposed to. The other thing is you can also look and see, wow, this looks like the Amazon site that I've seen all the time, so it's probably the same site. It's the site that I should be looking at. The next thing that you'll want to look at is what are the reviews of the site like. I assume that you guys all know somebody who's ordered from Amazon. And if you ask them, they will tell you, hey, what was it like ordering from Amazon? You can also find reviews for different sites online on like saying this was a good site to buy from or this was not a good site to buy from. So if I go like this, for example, and you can see here that here are some reviews of like what people have to say about it. With the one thing I do want to mention here real quickly is that with Amazon and some of the other companies, they are actually, in a lot of cases, their items may be from not Amazon. Let's see here. They sometimes will sell from like little additional like sites or like different little additional sellers. Trying to think what would be a good one to show here. Let's see. I don't think I can pull it up this way, but yeah. Yeah, here you can see here are some other sellers on Amazon. And you can see what the reviews are like right there. So that's one thing to be a little bit careful of. The other thing you want to look at is what are the delivery, exchange, and return and privacy policies like. If there's a problem with the order, what's going to happen? If they're going to just be like, hey, we're not going to do that, then that's a problem. The other thing that you want to look at is whether or not you've got a lock sign up here when you're checking out. On some smaller sites, you won't see this lock sign while you're just browsing the site, but you should be seeing it when you're checking out and typing in your credit card information and your address information. If you're not, do not shop there because it's not a safe site to be on.
I always check for that lock, whether I'm on my phone or whether I'm on my computer. That lock is super important because that shows that they have protected your information, especially when you're shopping and entering a credit card. I do not enter my credit card if there is not a lock sign on that site, no matter what the site is.
Yes, that is, if you don't take anything else away from what I'm talking about today, I would take that away. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, what do we do to actually pay? We recommend paying with a credit card. You have more protections on a credit card if there is a problem than you do on anything else. If you pay with a debit card, you'll just be out the money. If you pay with like a prepaid credit card, you'll be out the money. If you pay, and also with a debit card, if you get that, they can just keep drawing on it in a way that they won't be able to draw on it with the credit card. If this site asks for a money order or an EFT, that's a bad sign, and I wouldn't be purchasing from there, because money orders and electronic funds transfers are signs of are difficult to trace, and you can't get the money back. So do not recommend that. The next question is, where are you going to have it delivered? The sooner you can pick it up once it's delivered, the less likely it is going to be stolen from you. And additionally, you'll want to make sure that you can actually have it delivered there, because sometimes it can't be delivered there. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is account security. Most places that you do online shopping will ask you to make an account. When you make the account, make sure that you're choosing a good password for any accounts that you make. When I say a good password, what I mean is something with 8 to 12 characters long, with uppercase letters, lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters. Most sites will make you choose this kind of a password, but if they don't, make sure you do put those things in. Also recommend that you don't save your credit card information if you can, at all, because if your credit card information isn't saved, then if someone hacks into that site, it can't be stolen. You'll also want to check out the security settings on your account. Like, what do you want to get notified about? Or how do you log in? On Amazon, there's the opportunity for you to use two-factor authentication, which is useful. The next thing I want to talk about is purchasing in apps.
Yes, Jennifer.
Remind everybody what two-factor authentication means and like how they experience it, because some people get frustrated by it. We want them to know that it is good and frustrating.
Yes, of course. It depends on how you set it up in Amazon. There's a couple of different ways to do it. You can get, but the most common way and the easiest way for most people is just to have a number texted to your phone. So you'll type in your password, and then what'll happen is it'll say, hey, I want to send you a text, or a text was sent to you with this code, and you need to type in your code into the computer in order for you to log in. So you type in the code and then hit login, and it'll log you, and it should log you in. Usually there's a set amount of time of like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever in order for you to make sure that it's you. So you have to do it in at that time. So basically, when you have two-factor authentication on, before you log in, make sure you have your phone with you, and you'll be set. And if you're logging in on someone else's account, make sure they're on the phone or something like that. But honestly, don't log in with somebody else's account.
It means two ways in order for you to prove who you are. So that's the basic of it. And as Michelle said, usually you enter a password and then you can enter another code that you're sent. But there's a couple other ways too. They can call you, they can text you. So it's however you set it up and whatever you're comfortable with. All right, Michelle, if you want to wrap things up, you're at about 14 minutes. So.
Yep, just finishing up here. This is the last slide. The next thing I want to talk about is purchasing in apps. This is like the new thing for people to do on a phone as to purchase in an app. You need to be absolutely careful that if you're going to do purchase in an app, you want to be absolutely careful that you are getting the app that belongs to the company that you're looking for. There have been apps that are showing up that are pretending to be someone or pretending to be the company, and they're not. So be very careful on that. You'll also want to make sure that you're keeping that app updated on a regular basis. If you're not updating that app on a regular basis, it could have security issues. So yeah, it can be a good way to purchase things and a safe way to purchase things, but be careful. The next thing is I want to talk about real carefully is because people have been concerned about the security of credit card numbers in the internet. And as I mentioned, we do recommend using credit card numbers. We do not recommend using PayPal, Apple Pay, or one-time credit card numbers. And that's for a couple of reasons. The first is that if you have to return anything, a one-time credit card number isn't going to work. They can't return the money to the one-time credit card number. And PayPal and Apple Pay both have the same problem of if you're not being able to have the same protections that a credit card has. So as inconvenient as it is to have to reset your credit card, if ever there's a problem, it's also your best solution. Okay, that's all I have for you guys. So what kind of questions do you have?
So Kathy was asking, what is Shopify? Shopify, I've heard of it, but honestly, you guys gave me a moment to look it up and check. It's a platform that you can use for e-commerce. So Kathy, I'm sure you have a website already through your Delightfully, but if you didn't and you wanted to set up an e-commerce site, it is an e-commerce solution to make your products, or maybe somebody's selling jewelry and they want to set up a website and have their products available online. So it's a platform they can use to sell their products that way. So it's just a platform to sell your merchandise.
Well, relatedly, I do want to mention, on some smaller sites, occasionally you'll be on their site and all of a sudden you'll be taken to like Shopify or something like that. And that's because of that. That's what they're using as their secure payment site and their secure site as compared to the rest of their site, which is not secured.
Oh, so Kathy's actually familiar with it, that's probably what they use for Delightful. And I'm thinking then another similar type of platform might be like Etsy.
Yeah, same idea. Like that's the big platform kind of idea, and then you can sell with under that. I think Etsy is slightly different because people go under the Etsy umbrella versus Shopify would be your base, and then your stuff would be put on top of it.
Got it.
I think that would be the difference between them.
That makes sense.
I was gonna say, I think Shopify is a more inline shopping experience on your website, that it doesn't like take you off of your website to go to Etsy. Whereas Etsy, there's like, you can just basically search all of Etsy and find whatever you're looking for. And I don't believe you can do that on Shopify.
And again, this goes back to really having secure transactions. And, you know, like I have a WordPress website and people can go onto my site and purchase something. If I don't keep all of the things on the back end current and updated, then I, as the business owner, am assuming the risk of having somebody have a transaction or some security thing go wrong, and then that's my business. So Shopify is that layer, and other things like that, are that layer that they just provide the back end and make sure everything's running secure. Sort of like even how PayPal is a way of having secure transactions happen. And I just want to add to that too, with PayPal, you can still use a credit card and pay through PayPal. So it doesn't always have to be cash. And there's some, that's where transactions happen and people think, oh, well, I wanted to use my credit card. You can.
Yeah, definitely. You don't have to create a PayPal account. I mean, people want you to create a PayPal account, but some places will have you pay through PayPal for their services. And you can just put the credit card information in there.
Yep, I love it.
Any other questions as we transition to Jennifer?
Well, a lot of times when you purchase something from a company, then they want you to open an account. Do you recommend that or not? I don't usually do that.
Usually they have ways that you can check out as a guest. I usually do that. If I know that I'm going to be going there again, then I create an account kind of just to give myself an ease and give myself my own area kind of thing. But if I'm just going to do a one-time purchase, I definitely don't. Or sometimes I don't realize I'm going to go back again. And so then maybe on the second or third time I'll create it. You don't have to. A lot of them set it up so you don't have to. I don't think there's anything good or bad about it necessarily. It's just giving yourself your own space to track your orders. So that could be a positive there.
Another thing is that some sites will have like frequent shopper points. And if you create the account, you'll get the frequent shopper points. If you don't create the account, you won't get the frequent shopper points. From a security standpoint, it's safer not to create the account, but from a practicality standpoint, as Amanda's saying, a lot of people do. And I think it's fine just so long as the credit card information is what you're really wanting to protect more than anything else.
Thank you.
Right. Yep, I agree.
Thank you for teaching us how to shop online safely, Michelle. So we appreciate that. Jennifer is going to be presenting next, and she's going to be talking to us about Microsoft productivity tools. And she wanted to focus on Task Planner and To Do. So take it away, Jennifer.
Woo woo! All right, very exciting times here, right? Okay, so again, how do we find out if we have Planner? We go to portal.office.com. I've said it a million times. Use your login credentials, and then if you don't see it right at the very top when you're logging in of your commonly used apps, you can click on where it says All Apps, and it should appear there. Again, there's so many secret things. Actually, there's a new secret thing. Microsoft is deploying Microsoft Lists, and it's coming soon. And every time I look to see, do I have it yet? Do I have it yet? But I don't. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that because that lines up with productivity stuff as well. But Planner is a place to create plans, organize and assign tasks, share files, and get progress updates. So I typically think of Planner as a project-ish management place, as well as a place where I would share tasks with people on my team. Those are the main reasons I would use Planner. So when we get to it, we'll do a new plan. You can create public plans or private plans. Unless you're doing something for the whole organization to see, you probably want it to be private. Just create a plan. And and you can have it on an app, so it doesn't just have to be on a desktop. If you're familiar with any of the other tools like Trello or Asana, Planner is the Microsoft comparable tool to that. So the way that it's lined up to begin with is you have what's called a bucket, and the original bucket is just a to-do bucket. Let's say that we're going to just start planning an event. Like we could actually maybe have an event, a live event in person or something crazy like that. And I want to have a bucket that's called all things related to food. And I might want to have a bucket about all things related to entertainment. And just because of the times we're in, we'll have a bucket called safety as well. So you can have as many buckets as you want. And whether you add a task here, and so we say set food budget, and we can select a due date, and we can assign the task to whomever has been added to the plan. So right now, since it's just me, that's the only people who can be assigned to this task, but we'll have to change that later. We just hit add task, and now This is a little Trello card that can be picked up and moved wherever you want. So don't think that just because you start it in one place that it has to live there. So this gives you this wide range of variety that you can use of how do you want this set up. One of my first clients that I set up with Planner was for a university marketing department where they put out their semi-annual magazine. And we sat down and we're like, well, what are all the steps? And then once we started thinking about the steps, we thought, oh no, it's not the steps that mattered as much as maybe it was what goes on the front page and then what goes on the inside and what goes on advertising. So with this, we could still have each one of these little tasks and change the buckets, and all of a sudden you would see how it could become the process. And if you don't like that bucket name, you can just come on up and rename. So you have so much flexibility with it. I'm going to add another task so you can see how this lands. But here's what gets it even more fun. So we're going to pick a band. We're going to do this by this date too. Assign it to me. And when we hit add task and I add it to entertainment, this is really lame. This is just so like not a lot of information. But I can click on it to edit it. And now this is where there's awesomeness. You can add notes. You can add checklist items. So all of these checklist items can then show up on the front of the card. So you now have much more quick visibility for your project. And right in here, you can add attachments as well. So as things would come in, so all of this stuff now travels with that one task. And you're not going around searching in your email for all this stuff. Like it lands in one place. And if you have multiple people working on it, they can have comments back and forth. So if I were done with my part of this, I'm going to click out of here. You'll see how these checklist items now land right on here. Oh, I already did that. Check it, it's gone. I don't have to open the task to do it. So it's a really smooth interface. And I can just keep adding. And so we actually could have a bucket that's called finished, right? So like once some of those things are done, I'm going to add one little feature here showing how it is in process. There's so many tools. You can even use color coding if that's helpful. Those are right along the side. And there's just different ways for visual quick. Actually, let me add one so you can see it. Just quick visual cues so you can see how everything's going. Then as a project leader, I can jump to charts. The charts become my project dashboard. So I can see all the tasks that are out there. So here there's two tasks. One's not started, one's in progress. What are the categories that they're in? What is their urgency level? Who are they assigned to? We have a quick list over here of all of that. So now that's my dashboard of what needs to get done. And you can look at a schedule and see on the calendar what's coming up next too. So if you're trying to run some sort of collaborative project and everybody has different moving pieces, I highly recommend starting with Planner. But Microsoft has other tools that they've built in. In the old days, we used to use tasks in our Outlook or flagging a message in our Outlook. And that was good, but it didn't always get fully implemented. So instead, Microsoft's, actually, let me show you where it is. Under the portal, you can go to To Do. And To Do, to me, is completely magic. Here's why. Tasks from your Outlook, like things that I have just put into my Outlook that are tasks that I need to do. My flagged email messages from my Outlook land in here. Flagged messages in Outlook mean that it's meant to be something that you're followed up on. Assigned to you comes from Planner. So To Do is this beautiful place that brings all these things from all these different programs together into one management solution. So let me come back here. Assigned to you, pick a band, set food budget. Those two just land right up here. And planned is actually even more. So I actually have dug in and started to put together all these planners for all different parts. I even have a Costco shopping list here in my planner, because then when I'm thinking, right, like, oh, I need to go to Costco, and actually this is something Michelle and I were talking about earlier too. It's like, if you use these tools and put your shopping list in there, then when you know you're out there shopping for something, right, you don't have to, or if you're browsing on the web and you're like, what else did I need? You can jump to your list to go get it. So the glory of this, I'm going to jump to my Costco list. It's very exciting, toilet paper and Duraflame. But I can now click on this one. And this to me is where everything can come together from a productivity standpoint. If I click on add to my day, and that was a right click on that item and add to my day. If I, at the beginning or at the end of each day or beginning of each day or whatever that is, I start and I say, these are all the things on my to-do list. But which ones are the most important ones that I need to get to right away? Like, I have to finish today accomplishing this. You right click on any of them, click add to my day, and where you can really be working off of is under the my day area. So it doesn't matter if it was under planner or if it was under your email, if it was under tasks or any one of these other lists that you might have going on. By using that last trick of add to my day, now you don't have to float between all of them. You just keep going back to my day, and then you can tick stuff off. And it doesn't matter, you can set, when I click on one of these, I can remove it from my day. That's one thing. Or I can actually set reminders, I can set due dates, I can add files, and all those same kind of things that you could do in Planner, you can also do here in To Do. So it's really, so for example, have you ever been shopping and you found something like that you like, but you're not sure, maybe you want to go price compare on it or whatever? So what I would do is I might have a shopping list in my To Do, take a picture of that item or the SKU or whatever that is on my phone and send it, make it as a to-do here on my to-do list for shopping. And then the next time I'm out, like if I go from Home Depot to Menards, the next time I'm at Menards, I can be like, oh, it was this thing I wanted at Home Depot. And you're not going back and going, I can't remember what that was, or what was the exact price on that, or where did I find that? And I love this guy as a desktop. It's on the web. It's and it can be a desktop application, and it's on your phone. So it's portable across all of your devices. So if you're really thinking about what are some ways that I can streamline my productivity, if you're doing shared stuff or longer term project planning, then Planner should be your first point. But if you're mostly doing individual stuff, like Mary, if I'm thinking for you, anything for the organization that you want to share and assign tasks, that's Planner. But how it relates back to you, or even like, oh, I need to make a new plan because these are all the things that need to go in a plan for a whole bunch of people to do, that would go in your to-do. And remember when I taught in OneNote that you can also put to-dos in OneNote? I'll post a trick. I'll post it out over here in chat for you guys. There is actually a trick of how you can take the OneNote tasks and tie it into your to-do. So just, when you do a OneNote task, can tie it into your to-do, and then that can also show up on your Microsoft To-Do as well. So all of those things are going to all work across platforms, Kathy says. So if it's across all platforms, how is it updated with the latest info across those platforms? Because they're all web-based and they're all cloud-based. So when you save it on your phone, it's really now, if we used to think about how things worked, it would be, what's the latest version, right? Do I have the latest version on this computer or that computer, or on this USB or on that floppy disk or whatever? Now with everything being saved into the cloud, that's all synchronized because of your username and password. So when you log in with your email address, the main thing is that you're logging in with the same account. So for me, I have a personal account that's in Microsoft, I have my business account, I have a school account that's in Microsoft. Everything that I run through Microsoft is run through my business account, because that is the one thing that I sync everything else across. So that would be the one thing to kind of just be aware of. But for me, discovering, and now the next thing that's coming is the tool called Microsoft Lists. And like I said, it's not out on mine yet, but it is on its way. the idea of lists is I would say it's kind of a blend of planner and to-do. It's still gonna be really flexible, so it will have some database type formats. You can assign tasks from it as well, but it might be more list oriented than date oriented. So as soon as I have that, we'll do some updates on that as well.
So Jennifer, we had the question too that, I mean, we kind of mentioned this cross-platform. So do you have to download each individual program on your phone or on your tablet in order to use it, or how does that work?
Good question. Let me actually look at something, because Microsoft just came off with a single sign-in kind of thing as well. And now I need to check and see if these are all on there. So in the old days, I have a little folder on my screen called Microsoft, and I just keep all of my Microsoft programs in there. I am not a swipe across my phone to find stuff. I keep them all in folders. Anal retentive computer nerd. But in the past, I actually had downloaded Planner and To Do. But Microsoft recently came out with something where all you have to download is Office. And so that actually had in there PowerPoint, Excel, and Word all under one. Okay, here's what it does. It actually brings PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and some other tools into one downloaded application rather than to have all of those different things downloaded. But Planner is not on here and To Do is not on here. And I actually think that makes sense, because one, you want to just get to one click. And again, let's see if I can angle it. Nope, that's not going to work because of the white background. But when you have it on your phone, you can just have, I would download Planner and I would download To Do on your phone as separate applications, and it's all linked. So literally you can do something on the computer and you'll immediately see it updated on your phone.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. The other question was, if you have these tasks, either tasks seem to be individual is the way I'm understanding it. Is that correct?
Pretty much.
Okay. Okay. So then in your planner, do you need to make them public so that others in your organization have access to the same planning session? So you're planning this event. Does everybody need to have, do you need to make them public so that they can access that information?
So with a plan, you can add new members to the plan. So I can add one other member on my team. I can add an internal member, or I could add external members.
Tech Lab HQ. There you go.
And it's going to search. Come on. Maybe it's not letting me do it in this instance. There's some other settings, but you can actually add externals as well. So
okay.
You have to invite. So just think about this. Each plan is going to be for a different reason. Let's just say, like, I was planning a birthday party for Mary Irish. So I'm not inviting Mary Irish to my birthday party planning session. Sorry, Mary. You're invited to the party, but not to the planning. Fair enough. That makes sense. But Mary's mixing cocktails, if I recall correctly, because she's good at that. But does that make sense? So for each plan, you would add the right people that you need to be part of it. Under tasks and To Do, that's you. That's not stuff for the plan.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. There was a question on that.
You bet.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question on that. Is if I don't have Planner, can you still share the plan with me?
She's pretty sure. Jennifer just tried. It should work.
Cool.
But I don't know if you don't have Planner. That I would not.
Be surprised.
Yeah, I would not think so. We would have to test that. That would be fascinating. Yeah.
Is this automatically, I mean, I know you have to check your portal, but is this like an automatic part of Office, or is this like an add-on kind of thing?
It is standard with an Office 365 typical license, right? So, I mean, so when we're talking about licensing, There's all sorts of licensing levels, and some of them are for very, very large organizations. But this is available at the lower end level.
Okay.
Yep, good question.
So Jen, if everybody in my organization has teams, and we've not been at this very long, 6 weeks-ish, they should have access to everything that we've just talked about.
Oh, girl. So now if we're bringing teams into it, now we're going to make the magic happen. You ready? Okay. And Mary, we should probably schedule a separate conversation just to make sure that you guys are using Teams the best way possible.
Okay.
Okay. But what's really great about when you're doing this in Teams is if this is the team that I want to have access to the plan, I create the plan in the team. You don't have to go to the separate planner app. Right?
Gotcha.
So I didn't want to dig into Teams too much just because of the group, you know, and being aware of not everybody does have or leverage Teams yet. But that same step that we can do here, now automatically everybody that you have listed as a member of your team is also going to have access to that planner. It's going to land right at the top here. And if you look on your left hand side of your Teams, you're going to find your 3 dots over here. And those 3 dots are additional applications you can add in. And so I actually have my planner and my OneNote land right over here, because here's the thing of where it gets tricky in Teams. And this will be my last note on this. In Teams, if let's just say I had all these teams and I had planner stuff for each one of those teams and even multiple channels in those teams, all of a sudden I could be getting assigned tasks from 5, 6, 7 places at a time. Where do I go? Because I am certainly not going to be the one to keep up with going to all those places. When you go to Planner or you go to To-Do, you go to this place called My Tasks. And so it'll show you, this is my task 2, setting the food budget. This is my task 2, pick a band, right? But now this is the place that brings all of my stuff from all the different planners that I've been assigned, so I can set my priorities and decide where to go to work.
Gotcha.
And that's
Thank
the
you.
magic. Yeah, you bet. I'm glad you asked. And yeah, Mary, let's set up a time because I want to make sure, and I have some other free resources to help share with you as well.
Thank you.
You
That
bet.
was pretty mind-blowing, Jennifer, the way that integrates. That's cool.
Well, and that's the glory of the back end of all of this stuff being web-based. So cool.
Wonderful.
Well, let's pull up the PowerPoint so you guys can see what's coming up next. Ooh, ooh. And this is us. You guys know where to find us.